Normandy Beach, June 6, 1944. Thomas Reed's grandfather stormed that beach with the first wave, watched his best friend die in the sand beside him, made it 30 yards before shrapnel tore through his leg. He survived, came home, became a firefighter, spent 40 years running into burning buildings, saved hundreds of lives. On his deathbed, he told young Thomas one thing: fear is just noise. People screaming for help is the only sound that matters. Run toward it. Thomas became a firefighter at 21, carried his grandfather's words like a badge. For 30 years, he ran toward the screaming, until one night in October 2003, the night that changed everything. The call came in at 11:47 p.m. Structure fire, residential, possible occupants inside. Thomas and his crew arrived in 4 minutes. The house was fully engulfed, flames pouring out of every window, black smoke blocking out the stars. A woman stood in the front yard screaming, hysterical, pointing at the second floor. "My babies," she screamed. "My babies are in there. 4 kids. Please." "How many?" Thomas shouted. "4. Ages: 10, 8, 6, and 3. "Where?" "Second floor. Front bedroom." The captain grabbed Thomas's arm. "It's too hot. The roof's gonna collapse any second. We can't send anyone in." Thomas looked at the woman, looked at the house, heard his grandfather's voice. Run toward the screaming. He ran, straight through the front door. The heat hit him like a wall. His gear protected him, but barely. Smoke so thick he couldn't see his own hands. He dropped to his knees, crawled toward the stairs. The stairs were on fire, each step cracking under his weight. He made it to the second floor. The hallway was an inferno. He heard crying, faint, behind a door at the end of the hall. He crawled. The floor burned through his gloves, the ceiling rained embers. He reached the door, kicked it open. 4 kids huddled in the corner. The oldest, a girl, holding the youngest, protecting them with her body. Thomas grabbed the 3-year-old, shoved him inside his coat, grabbed the 6-year-old, told the 8-year-old to hold on to his belt, told the 10-year-old girl to hold on to her sister. "Stay low," he shouted. "Don't let go." They crawled back through the hallway. The ceiling collapsed behind them, missing them by inches. They reached the stairs. The 3rd step gave out. Thomas fell through, caught himself with one arm, held the 3-year-old with the other. The kids screamed. He pulled himself up, kept moving, made it to the bottom, out the front door, handed the kids to other firefighters, collapsed on the lawn. The roof collapsed 30 seconds later. If he'd been slower, they'd all be dead. The paramedics checked him. 2nd-degree burns on his hands, smoke inhalation, exhaustion, but alive. The 4 kids were alive. The mother held her children, sobbing, thanking God, thanking Thomas. She ran to him, knelt beside him. "You saved them," she cried. "You saved my babies. I don't know how to thank you." "Just take care of them," Thomas said, his voice hoarse. "That's all the thanks I need." "What's your name?" she asked. "Thomas Reed. I'm Maria Santos. And these are my babies." The 10-year-old girl approached, shy, scared, but brave. She held out her hand. "Thank you for saving us," she whispered. Her name was Sophie. Thomas shook her tiny hand. "You're welcome, sweetheart. You were very brave in there." Sophie smiled, then passed out from smoke inhalation. The paramedics rushed her to the hospital. All 4 kids survived, minor injuries, smoke inhalation, but alive. Thomas went back to the station, wrote his report, went home. Another day, another fire, another life saved. He never saw the family again. 20 years passed. Thomas retired at 55. Bad knees, bad lungs. 30 years of smoke does that. He lived alone in a small house in Connecticut. His wife had died 5 years earlier. Cancer. His daughter lived across the country. Rarely called. He spent his days in his garage, woodworking, building birdhouses, watching old westerns, trying not to think about all the things he'd lost. One afternoon in October 2023, his doorbell rang. Thomas wasn't expecting anyone. He opened the door. A young man stood there, maybe 25, well-dressed, suit and tie, carrying a briefcase. "Can I help you?" Thomas asked. "Are you Thomas Reed?" the young man asked, his voice shaking. "Yeah." "Who's asking?" The young man's eyes filled with tears. My name is Marcus Santos. 20 years ago, you pulled me out of a burning house. I was 3 years old. Thomas stared at him. The fire, the 4 kids, the little boy he'd carried inside his coat. You, Thomas whispered. You're the little one. Marcus nodded. Can I come in? They sat in Thomas's living room. Marcus pulled out a folder, started talking. I don't remember that night, Marcus said. I was too young, but my mom told me the story my whole life, about the firefighter who ran into a burning building when everyone said it was suicide, who carried me out inside his coat, who saved all 4 of us. Thomas didn't know what to say. Your mom, how is she? She passed away 2 years ago, Marcus said quietly. Heart attack. I'm sorry. Me too, Marcus said. But before she died, she made me promise something. She said, find that firefighter, thank him properly, tell him what his choice meant. So I've been looking for you for 2 years, and I finally found you. Thomas felt his throat tighten. You didn't have to do that, son. Yes, I did, Marcus said, because you need to know what happened to us, what your choice created. He opened the folder, pulled out photos. This is Sophie, Marcus said, the oldest, the one who held us in that room. She's 30 now. She became a firefighter, just like you. Works in Boston, saved over 50 lives in the last 8 years. She says she does it because you showed her what courage looks like. Thomas stared at the photo. Sophie in her firefighter gear, smiling, strong. This is Elena, Marcus continued. She was 8 that night. She's a pediatric nurse now, works in a children's hospital. She says she helps kids because you helped us when we needed it most. Another photo. Elena in scrubs, surrounded by sick children. This is Carlos. He was 6. He's a teacher now, high school. He says he teaches kids that heroes are real because he met one. Photo of Carlos in a classroom, writing on a blackboard. And me, Marcus said, I'm a lawyer. But not just any lawyer. I work for a nonprofit. We represent families who've lost homes to fires, help them rebuild, get them resources. I do it because a firefighter gave me a second chance at life. I want to give that to others. Thomas couldn't speak. Tears rolled down his face. You saved 4 kids that night, Marcus said. But it didn't stop there. Sophie saved 50 more. Elena helps hundreds of sick children every year. Carlos teaches 500 kids. I've helped rebuild homes for 200 families. That's thousands of lives touched. All because you ran into that fire. All because you didn't give up. Thomas shook his head. I was just doing my job. No, Marcus said firmly. 20 other firefighters were there that night. Only one ran in. Only you. That wasn't your job. That was your choice. Marcus pulled out one more thing. An envelope. What's this? Thomas asked. Open it. Inside was a letter. Handwritten. From Maria. Written 2 weeks before she died. It said, Dear Thomas, if you're reading this, I'm gone. But I needed you to know something before I left this world. That night you saved my children. You saved me too. I was broken. Divorced. Struggling. Barely holding on. Losing my kids would have destroyed me. But you gave them back to me. You gave me a reason to keep fighting. I raised 4 incredible humans because you gave me the chance. I watched them grow, graduate, succeed, fall in love, become the people they were meant to be. Every milestone, every achievement, every moment of joy. I thought of you, the stranger who gave us a future. I never got to thank you properly. Never got to tell you what you meant to us. So I'm telling you now. You are the reason my family exists. You are the reason 4 kids grew up to help others. You are a hero, not because of the badge, because of the heart. Thank you for running in, for not giving up, for being the man your grandfather raised. Thank you for everything. With eternal gratitude, Maria Santos. Thomas read the letter 3 times, hands shaking, tears falling. Marcus wiped his own eyes. There's one more thing, he said. What? All 4 of us pooled our money. We want to give you something. He pulled out a check, handed it to Thomas. Thomas looked at the amount. $100,000. I can't, Thomas said. We insist, Marcus said. You gave us our lives. This is nothing compared to that. But there's more. We started a foundation, the Thomas Reed Foundation. We're funding fire safety programs, buying equipment for underfunded fire departments, helping families who've lost everything to fires. Your name is going to save lives for generations. Thomas broke down, sobbed. Marcus knelt beside him, hugged him. Thank you, Marcus whispered, for being there when it mattered, for showing us what it means to be brave, for giving us a chance to become who we are. 6 months later, Thomas stood in a fire station in Boston, Sophie beside him. She was showing him around, introducing him to her crew. This is Thomas Reed, Sophie told them. He's the reason I'm here, the reason any of us are here. The firefighter shook his hand, treated him like a legend. After the tour, Sophie and Thomas sat in the station kitchen. Coffee and donuts, just like the old days. Do you ever regret it? Sophie asked, running in that night. Thomas thought about it. The burns, the nightmares, the fear, the roof collapsing. Never, he said. Not for 1 second. Good, Sophie said, because I run into fires now, and every time I'm scared, I think about you, about how you didn't hesitate, how you saved us even when everyone said it was impossible. That gives me courage. Thomas smiled. Your mom would be proud of you. I hope so, Sophie said. I try to be like her, strong, loving, grateful. She taught us to never forget where we came from, never forget who helped us. That's why we found you. That's why we're doing this, because forgetting would be the worst thing we could do. Thomas realized something then. He'd spent 5 years thinking he was alone, thinking his life didn't matter anymore, thinking he was just an old retired firefighter with nothing left to give. But he was wrong. His choice 20 years ago still mattered, still echoed, still saved lives. That's the power of one moment, one decision, one person running toward the screaming when everyone else runs away. Here's the truth Thomas learned. You never know the full impact of your choices. That night in 2003, he thought he saved 4 kids, but he saved thousands. Sophie's 50 rescues, Elena's hundreds of patients, Carlos's 500 students, Marcus's 200 families. All of it traced back to one firefighter who refused to give up. One man who heard his grandfather's voice and ran toward the screaming. Your choices ripple forward, further than you'll ever see. That kind word, that moment of courage, that decision to help when it's easier to walk away. You have no idea who you're saving, no idea what you're creating. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Run toward the screaming. Be the person who doesn't give up. Be the Thomas Reed in someone's story. Here's my question for you. Who needs you to run in? Who's trapped? Who's screaming? Who needs someone to ignore the danger and come for them anyway? Maybe it's literal. Maybe it's metaphorical. Doesn't matter. Run toward it. If this story moved you, leave a comment about a time someone ran in for you, or a time you ran in for someone else. Subscribe if you believe in firefighters and ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Share this story because someone watching needs to know their life matters. Their choices echo. We run toward the screaming. That's what heroes do. Now go be someone's Thomas. Go run into the fire.